My friends, the great experiment.
The crew doesn't hate the XO, then he's not doing his job.
Good hunting is what you say.
It's part of the pattern, part of the plan.
Are they the lucky ones? That's what you're thinking, isn't it?
Welcome to Greatest Trek and Hot Cylon Summer. It's the new Star Trek podcast that's doing a season of Battlestar Galactica in the new Star Trek off-season. I'm Adam Pranica.
I'm Ben Harrison.
Hey.
Hey. You just told me you backed out of a tiki hang?
I know.
How do you drop horrible news like this on me right before we record? How am I expected to be able to be funny when I'm grieving you dropping out of a tiki hang?
A little peek behind the pod. It's Thursday. I'm so tired. I don't have a tiki hang in me tonight. And you just told me you were feeling sick. You were going to be my tiki hang date. Easy to give those tickets away. Tickets are what you need to go to a tiki bar when you're in Los Angeles lately.
Sometimes, yeah.
And I gave those away. So some other day is when we'll go have kingly tiki hangs.
That sounds good.
It's going to be great when we do. Probably our next tiki hang is going to be at Star Trek Las Vegas.
Very likely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does the Rio still have a vaguely tiki theme to it as a hotel, or are they doing away with all of that now that they're renovating?
Man, I don't know what the Rio's doing. And when this episode drops, it'll be a week after Star Trek Las Vegas.
Oh,
we
man.
could be dead.
Probably will be.
Yeah.
How about new?
If we did Pranica right, I think there's a non-zero chance of that happening to one or both of us.
Yeah.
Hopefully we still have a friendly relationship with Anne-Marie. Who has promised us on occasion that we will be involved in this convention somehow at the time of this recording.
Yeah.
Unclear in what way. And if it's just cabana hangs, that's fine.
If it's badge and cabana, I think we did it right, you know? Anything beyond that is gravy.
I think so too. Yeah. She knows what she gets when she's working with us. That's why we like her.
Yeah, man. Tough times over here. I'm always sick. I've been always sick for 2 months, I feel like.
This is sick boy's room. Not a week's gone by hasn't come down with some sort of ailment. Shingles, hepatitis, crabs. That was his fault.
I feel like it's been that long since I've seen you in person for that reason.
Yeah.
Just yeah, man, keep yourself over on that side of LA.
Fucked up side.
Yeah. At least the fireworks are over.
Yeah, that has been nice.
Yeah. By saying that, I'm just trying to offer you a good thing has happened.
One good thing. Found out my wife has COVID this morning.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're getting pretty used to sleeping in the studio at this point, though. So
I've been sleeping in the studio all week. It looks like next week also.
The times when I sleep in the studio, and they are Miriam, I find are often the best times for video gaming.
That's true.
That's when I really get my video game time in. And if I'm not, I'm not.
I got myself the Spider-Man game for PlayStation due to studio sleep, and I've been enjoying the Spider-Man game.
That's great.
Yeah.
I started the Spider-Man game and set it down for a while. Forgot where I was in the game or how to play it, and that's how it goes for me.
Yeah.
I go through the level where you learn how to play the game, where it teaches you how to play it, and then that's where I get off, and you're fucked when you do that.
Yeah, that is a button combo ass game. There's no mashing to win.
There's a superhero in the TV show The Boys that is called Web Slinger, and he is by far the grossest superhero because his web fluid just comes out of his butt. And it comes out constantly and disgustingly.
Oh, ow!
What?
Oh, that's my web hole.
Sounds mighty heroic.
Yeah.
What does he do with this awesome power?
Gotta believe that that was a draft of Spider-Man, right? Where's it come out? Could be kind of fun if a couple of different ways that goes, right?
I mean, butt seems anatomically accurate to spider. I was trying to think of this. Did we have this conversation already? Are there versions of Spider-Man where it's not a gadget that he made for himself, but something that happened to him when he got bit by the radioactive spider?
Like maybe there's the generic version that's Tarantula Man.
Tin Man.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got like a big hairy butt.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
That shoots the web juice out of.
Right.
I mean, that's an idea.
That's a great idea. TM us that.
Yeah. It's that kind of creative firepower. A week after Star Trek Las Vegas, we'll be able to give this episode of Battlestar Galactica, Ben. How excited are you to get into hot Cylon summer?
I'd much rather do that than get all tied up in this Spider-Man talk.
Yeah. Yeah. It's Battlestar Galactica Season 1, Episode 9, and it's called Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down.
Madam President, we are the proud owners of the universe's first bona fide Cylon detector.
Is this referring to the Pedro Almodovar movie of the title Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down? Or is that in itself related to a different movie or a different work?
It's one of those phrases that you hear.
Yeah.
But I don't know whereof the origin of that phrase.
Like, I tried to look it up, hoping to get that see also part.
Right.
Of the Google or whatever. There's no see also.
Like disambiguation.
Yeah.
And that title is translated from Spanish.
Uh-huh. Atame.
Atame.
Hey, that's kind of like how I give a little Spanish flair to my name.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Atame.
Yeah, who knows? The SEO on the origin of the phrase "tie me up, tie me down" is completely washed out by the existence of that movie. So we'll never find it.
A great director of that film, a great director of this episode, Ben, Edward James Olmos Actual.
Wow.
Is the director of this ep, and it had me on the lookout for interesting flourishes, and I think we get a few.
I think so too. It's an unusual episode. We start with the that TV periscope in the middle of the CIC kind of lowering down. And as we cut around, we come to discover, or at least I came to discover, that there's a second floor in the CIC.
Yeah, kind of like the theater area of the operating room at a teaching hospital. The CIC is kind of rung by this upper area, and it's tiny. Like two people can't walk past side by side.
But President Rosalind's up there. She's got a box of Junior Mints, and two pieces of information get dropped on Adama right away. One is that there is a Cylon detector that is working in Baltar's lab. It is ready to start testing people. And also, President is here and wants to talk to him.
Amazing bit of business that happens off screen. You know, like, hey, ready to go. Let's feed this thing some blood. Much like the Audrey 2.
Feed me.
Wants to be fed the blood for sustenance.
Right.
No, no more.
Yeah, the silent detector's ready. And the word is, disappointingly, that it's kind of a one person at a time thing. And every verification takes hours. And there's kind of some cute/not cute argument that happens between Adama and President Rosalind about who should be the first one tested.
Yeah.
If you're a Cylon, I'd like to know.
If I'm a Cylon, you're really screwed.
I'd say it's mostly not cute because it's a real, like, you go first, no you. Like, why are you telling me to go first? Why would you tell me to go first kind of energy?
I think Rosalind's reason is the strongest, though. Like, even if she's not being cute or being aggressive, her idea that, like, the uppermost positions in our society should be the first ones tested.
Yeah. Well, and I think Adama says the same thing. Like, they agree on it, but it's weird that they don't agree on which of them that is.
Don't you feel like you could fast track the testing by taking a little pipette and zhuzhing out some blood from multiple samples, swirling that around, and testing that swirly sample? Because then you could just remove the possibility of all those
right
as you go. It's just sort of group test them, you know?
You've ever seen metal detector guy videos on the internet? They like go around metal detecting, they get a signal, they dig up a bunch of dirt, they metal detect the dirt, and then they metal detect the hole to see if what they detected was in what came out of the hole or if it's still in the hole.
Yeah.
And so if you test 10 people at a time and there's no positive result, then test the next 10 people. If there is a positive result, then go back and test individually.
Gaius Baltar's supposed to be a genius. I am not. And I came up with that idea. I'm sure there's a reason that's not going to work. But
looks like Adama is going to be first up on the testing docket. And we cut over to kind of an observation lounge where Duala and ACG are on what may or may not be a date, depending on which of them you ask. But this does seem to be like a date place, right? Like everybody there is kind of canoodling on love seats while watching Vipers fly around in space outside.
It's the make-out point of the Audrey 2.
Yeah.
Because it's got the view and kind of the stadium seating aspect to it. It's great.
Did you get the sense that you can draw a direct line between this space and the president's statement that we need to start making babies?
I sure did.
Yeah.
That statement was ringing in my head. There will be no birth control distributed on any of the fleet ships.
No. Yeah.
Things are on. And there has been a passage of time between when we last saw Duala and Assistant Cousin Greg and what we have here. Things seem to be going really well for them.
Yeah. Except for ACG is curious about what's going on with Adama, and Duala, being one of his aides de camp, can actually talk about like things that are happening in his life that might be of interest to the president.
How did you read this scene? Because there's a look on Assistant Cousin Greg's face, like when they're embracing, that he's like not fully there. He kind of looks a little bit like a spy. But the information he gets from Duala spills out so easily. It's not like he gave her the hard sell that she suggests he did toward the end. Like, she knows she's sharing information that she shouldn't. And what's worse is that she blames him for pumping it out of her. He didn't do that, I don't think. She volunteered that.
Yeah, but she's being kind of playful about the fact, like, I think she is like, yeah, go ahead and pump me, you know? I think that's her vibe.
But do you think this is done with intention? Is Assistant Cousin Greg working and playing in this scene? Because when we smash cut after to the meeting that he has with President Roslin, you could assume that he was maybe only working.
Yeah.
And that feels dirty.
But on the other hand, is Duala working a little bit? Like, she's got some juice with the president because of her relationship with Assistant Cousin Greg, and she's seeing this concerning behavior in her commanding officer. What she describes is that Adama is like making sneaky little phone calls and having the records erased and, going off, and nobody knows what he's up to when this happens.
I love the quality to men of a certain haircut that goes like, when you're at work, shit's pretty flattened down and glossy. And when you're on a date, there's just a couple of parts of your hair that's kind of teased out a little bit. That's fun, Assistant Cousin Greg.
Yeah.
And in this date scene and the scene that follows, you see both versions of this.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
Also really funny to me was when the door swings open to this area and a guy in uniform goes, "Time's up." And there's like another group of horny 20-somethings waiting to get in.
Yeah. That area's got a reek.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, I can.
How soaked are those couches?
It's like that 5-second film.
Yeah. Watching Vipers fly around outside the window works.
Scientist presses down on a beanbag chair. It's good. It's good. We cut over very briefly to Commander Adama, the Commander Adama being spoken about in this meeting with the president, about You know, is he just a commander doing secret commander stuff, or is he a Cylon doing Cylon stuff? And when we cut over to him, he's sitting alone, kind of raw dogging his alone time into theme in a kind of suspicious way, right?
Yeah, it was a little suspicious.
After the theme, it's a very different tone with Gaius Baltar. You'd expect him to be kind of in a celebratory mood. He's brought this project to a close. He's flipped on the machine for Cylon detection, but he's not happy. He's done that awful thing where he's done a good job, and that has meant he's about to do 10,000 more good jobs in the form of all those blood samples that are waiting to be tested.
I didn't quite get this, because, like, you definitely don't want the guy who is capable of inventing the Cylon detector also being the guy that has to do the busy work of working it. Is it, like, such a complex process that only he can understand how to do it?
Unclear, because it seems like this would be a job for Gaeta, you know?
This kind of bothered me. Like, you know, both that he claims that the Cylon detector works and everybody is just going with that and nobody is, like, saying, like, show your work, let me, like, verify your results.
Show me a positive, show me a negative, especially.
Yeah, like, none of that seems to have happened.
Could it be that there's only one scientist in the fleet anymore?
And there's like 75 fucking White House reporters?
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Like, anyone with even the loosest grasp of the scientific method would be like, yeah, I've got a question.
Where's the peer review process in the Cylon detector design?
But it's not that bad, is it, Gaius?
Boy, you see all these blood samples in front of him, and with all that blood around his body, only seems right that some blood would rush to his dick, right? Because number 6 is in there, trying to keep him from killing himself, because that's how bleak it is for Gaius Baltar. He's like, I don't want to do this anymore.
He's looking at the rest of his life being distinctly boring. And she's rewarding him with some fun, sexy time when Starbuck walks in.
Knock on my door! Knock next time!
Man, what a weird little moment, because if I walked in on somebody jacking off, I would leave and let them get themselves together and maybe never talk to them again, or, you know, or at least if it was urgent that I talk to them, I would let them get themselves together. And Starbuck doesn't.
What we've missed since the Cylon genocide is that public masturbation has been normalized across the fleet.
Right.
Because things are so bleak, like, go ahead and nut if you can.
Do what feels good, man.
Yeah, who knows how much longer we'll be here. That's sort of the vibe of this.
Right. It's like the anecdote of the guy jacking off when he knows his plane is going to crash. And
yeah.
It's like, you know, I know that I'm surrounded by 90 other people who don't want to be watching this right now, but I don't have a lot of time left, and I want to nut once more.
Starbuck's like, Gaius, is this your idea of exercise? Because that's what he uses as an excuse.
Ugh.
Not one that I've ever heard.
And what's going on here seems pretty pervy, doesn't it?
Meanwhile, it looks like Colonel Tigh is doing one of his favorite things also, alone in his quarters, but it's surprising that he's not drinking out of that bottle. He's pouring the last of his booze into the wastepaper basket next to his desk.
A mesh wastepaper basket that's pretty full. So most of that's going on the floor, right?
That paper that's wadded up inside does not look absorbent either.
No. An insane choice. There's got to be a sink you can pour that down, right?
Also not absorbent is the picture of his wife that he pulls from a desk drawer. A picture.
Take that booze and go bet on a dumb hand in poker. Don't pour it out. Somebody's going to want that.
Yeah. It really seems like he should trade that in for something that's good.
Yeah, he's got that picture of a lady in his drawer that has been cigar burned on the face and crumpled up.
If you really hate the person, you don't keep the picture. And I think this is very telling that Tigh has kept the picture. It says a lot about his relationship to this person.
Yeah, that he has both burned her face with a cigar and also kept the picture.
Yeah.
A very intense combination of circumstances.
In the CIC, they pick up a bogey on the radar, and it's 1 Cylon Raider only. It's a good thing Apollo and a pilot named Beehive are already out in their fighters. They can engage it. Do we know Beehive?
This was the first time I heard Beehive.
Pretty fun call sign.
Tell him to leave me alone.
What's weird about this scene is that Commander Adama is not on board to sort of call the defensive plays in this moment. He left in a Raptor an hour ago, and he didn't file a flight plan. So there's these two things happening at once. The threat of the Cylons and maybe the need to jump away without a commander on board, and no one knows where he is.
Tigh is pretty quick to do the math on this and go like, unfortunately, we got to let him go because this Cylon Raider jumps away, and they're like, well, we took out its weps, but it's gone, and so presumably the rest of the Cylon fleet is on its way, and they make the call that they're just going to have to leave Big Adama behind when Little Adama radios up, and he's like, hey, that guy's back, and it's the same guy.
And it keeps blurping in and out of their area in a whole bunch of different places, and Colonel Tigh finally orders Apollo, after its weapons have been destroyed, like, why don't you do a couple of flybys of it? Like, study it a little while longer. If it's not a threat, let's see if we can learn something here.
Yeah.
And that is the exact moment that Big Adama returns from what seems like maybe a joyride he took in a Viper.
Yeah, he lands a real fun shot of him at the controls of his Raptor as they're wheeling it into the hangar bay. We see some lady shoes back in the back. We don't see who they are attached to.
Shoes.
I love the confidence of a well-dressed woman wearing heels boarding the shuttle to go over to the Audrey 2. Like,
the Audrey 2 seems like a distinctly tricky place to walk around on in high heels.
I think so. I think it says a lot about her right away.
Yeah.
It's fun how much drama is in this scene because you only see her legs and those shoes, and Adama stands and opens the door, and it's like one of those Tesla Model X doors or whatever.
Yeah.
The gull wing door opens, and with a dramatic flourish that you didn't think was possible in a moment like this, there is Ellen Tigh presented to Colonel Tigh. And wow, what a moment.
Yeah. So this is what all of the secret phone calls and trips were.
Yeah.
It was kept a secret from Colonel Tigh, and it's a great answer to his like incredulous, where the fuck were you?
It's a relief, isn't it?
Yeah. So we cut over to Cylon-occupied Caprica, where the Toasters are still really putting a lot of resources towards finding Hilo and Boomer, who are in the sewers, and they kind of get into a debate over which of the two of them they're chasing. ¿Por qué no los dos?
There's so many of them. It feels like there are more Centurions in this scene than we've ever seen in one place.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't seem like a fleeable amount, you know?
Yeah. She says that they're chasing her and that they've like set up some big base in the like place that they were going to look for a Raptor.
Can they not climb ladders? I wonder if this is an Ed 209 situation.
Oh.
You know, like they're scattered all around on the surface. Seems like they could go in the sewers.
Yeah, they don't want to rust out, you know. They get all wet down there.
But it's rainy on Caprica. Maybe they're grossed out by sewers.
Yeah, it does. The smell is also a concern.
Yeah.
It's the smell.
As they flee, Boomer tells Hilo that she heard about some things while she was captured. And what she heard was that there's a big Cylon base in a place called Delphi. And she thinks that if they go to there, they could possibly steal a ship to get off planet with. So that seems to be, at least it's a plan. It's a plan that's better than just run.
Is your understanding that they are not doing the love nest then? Like she is steering him away from the love nest that the other two flesh jobs were talking about?
Because when we meet them later, they're wondering where the hell she is.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
back at the fleet. We're in the lab, and we learn that Adama has prioritized Tigh's wife's blood as being the first one tested, which is going to be a big deal over the course of the episode.
I feel like later we realize that the blood alcohol level in that little vial is off the charts. It's probably untestable.
Yeah.
But it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Like the things about Ellen Tigh and her appearance are so weird that it is suspicious.
Right.
That she has suddenly appeared. So yeah, why not move her to the top of the list? Because what he might have done is invite a human-looking Cylon to the ship. You don't want to do that.
You sure don't. And you learn in the next scene, like, there's more to be concerned about than even just that. Like, she has no memory of how she got aboard the ship or what's been happening for the last few weeks.
An angle to this that's big, but not the top line thing, is that, like, by Adama deprioritizing his own sample, that looks suspicious on his part.
Right. So over in the CIC, they are gathering all of this data about how the Raider does its FTL jumps. I guess that's part of the scans that they're doing of it. And Big Adama invites Little Adama to dinner. And we cut back to the Tigh quarters where they're getting back together.
And in this scene, we learn her weird backstory.
Yeah.
Like that during the attack on Caprica, she was at the airport and she got knocked out during, and then she just kind of woke up a week ago.
Yeah.
Seems pretty flimsy as stories go.
Like many people suffering from alcohol abuse disorder, she's like not totally clear on a lot of the details of how things happened for her. Like why she's in a particular place at a particular time.
Yeah. She seems in this scene really motivated to apologize for some past indiscretions, which sort of explain the whole cigar burning of the face in the photograph aspect to the relationship that we've seen so far, which is one-sided. This was just Colonel Tigh's perspective here.
I was dying for her to find the picture.
Yeah. Because that ends this whole thing before it starts.
Can you imagine if your wife found a picture of her with a cigar hole in the face?
I mean, the other part that I thought might end this thing before it started was the hesitation that Tigh has before kissing her.
Yeah.
There really seems to be some reluctance on his part to get back in to whatever it is this is.
Feels like old times.
You have dinner plans.
What?
Come on.
He gets called over to the president's office on the other ship, and she kind of confides in him that she has got some suspicions, W/R/T, Big Adama. This is not an accusation that Tigh enjoys hearing. He's got a lot of history with Adama, and it just doesn't compute for him.
But a huge reason for that is Tigh's able to explain away a lot of that suspicious behavior. He's like, yeah, guess what? You know how Adama's kind of a soft touch? He hooked me back up with my wife again.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that nice? And he wanted it to be a surprise.
I thought that did a nice job of giving the president a lot of reason to second guess the concerns that she's had. You know, cause her to question what she thinks about people.
I love when the president thinks she's being sneaky, though, because she's like, oh, by the way, who's this person's name again? Ellen Tigh? Okay. And then, like, what you don't see is her writing down that name.
Right.
In order to move her to the top of the sample first list in Gaius Baltar's lab.
Yeah, because like she earlier found out that Baltar was not testing Adama, but was rather testing someone named Ellen. So now she's like jerked him around like 3 times now on who to test.
We're back in Tigh's quarters after this meeting, and she has slipped into something more comfortable and has a bottle of green stuff to share with him. And it's awkward because Tigh resists drinking, and it's for a whole lot of reasons. I feel like the viewer really brings a lot of information into this scene.
Yeah.
Like, you saw that scene where Tigh poured out the last of his bottle. Has he stopped drinking? Maybe. But also, the more you get to know Ellen Tigh, the more you understand why he would be reluctant to drink even if he wasn't sober.
Right.
Like, this is an inflection point for him. Like, he doesn't want to get into this old routine.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say no when booze has been spit into your mouth.
Yeah. It kind of seemed like that, right? Like when they kiss, like it's before he's taken his drink. And
how many takes do you do this before you get the one where it doesn't accidentally come out of the corners of your mouth, though? I thought they did a really good job.
Yeah, maybe an argument for keeping the gap. Makes it easier to spit booze into people's mouths.
This moment is like a dam breaking. Like, as soon as the green booze goes into Tigh's mouth, it's like Requiem for a Dream. He's all in.
We cut from that to a big fancy dinner with the Adamas and the president and Colonel Tigh and Ellen Tigh.
Isn't a lot of candlelight really great?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you'll go to dinner. Sometimes I'll have dinner at home with my wife and it'll be like, yeah, light a couple candles. It's nice. It is so much better to light 40 candles.
Yeah.
This room is lit so beautifully.
Yeah. The vibes are immaculate.
For the moment.
Ellen is fucking wasted.
Yeah, this sucks.
I mean, Tigh is too, but like, I think she is really kind of on a next level and loose lipping it a little bit, like saying things that are impolitic in a room full of political power movers.
And underinformed. Like when she evokes the name Zach Adama, yikes.
Yeah.
Not a good moment. And in her mind, you can almost see the busted clockwork start grinding against itself. Like, oh, I guess there's one living Adama brother. Might as well jam my foot into that guy's crotch.
Is footsie a thing that exists in real life, or is it just for TV and movies?
Have you ever gotten an erection from someone else's foot? I don't think so. I have.
I mean, I think that there are people that are wired that way, but maybe that's who it's for. Like if you're a Quintino and your special partner knows about it.
There you go. I'm not going to brook this Quentin Tarantino hate.
It's not hate. That's a well-known thing about him. I'm not shaming his kink.
How often does this work, though? Like footsie doesn't ever turn into sex. Footsie is footsie. Footsie is not sex.
It's like such drunk person logic, too, right? Like, I just found out about this guy's brother's death.
Yeah.
I think enough time has passed that I should probably start making moves on him.
Like, if she were around for the memorial, like, she'd probably try to open up that casket and jam a foot down there.
Yeah.
There is some suspicion. Like, here's how you know Ellen Tigh is super hammered. You can ask a bunch of questions about how suspicious her shit is to her face and around her, and she doesn't get offended by it. Like, well, that's kind of weird, Ellen, how you just showed up on the Rising Star and you don't remember how you got there. And there's no record of you seeing a doctor at all, even though you said you were injured at an airport or something. Like, and what's with all the interest in Earth all of a sudden you've got? This is the moment where another piece of information is revealed that it doesn't seem like Ellen Tigh has, which is the whole Cylons look like people now.
Right.
She kind of plays it off like, oh yeah, that like that. I knew that too.
Yeah.
But in a very like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't know, Ellen.
And also like too drunk to make the connection that she may be coming off as super Cylon-y by like asking about what their course and trajectory are.
The most hilarious part about this to me, like one of the best parts, is Commander Adama's party over moment.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for coming.
Get the fuck out!
He articulates the party's over in such a great way that makes it very clear to two shithouse drunks that it's time for them to go.
Yeah.
And once they do, everyone who still remains at the dinner party is like, God, if the Cylons can program like that, the agreement in the room is they are fucked. Like, that was incredible programming if she's a Cylon. Holy moly.
The awkwardness sort of dissipates a little bit as the Tighs stumble down the hallways. And we learn from Adama that he had some reservations about reuniting these two because she's such a bad influence on his colonel. And also, like, she fucked half the fleet when he was on deployment.
Oh, this is such a bummer.
Yeah.
This hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts that their laundry is generally known.
Really does. Yeah, it would be a tricky position to be in, to be like, oh, I found out that, like, my best friend's girlfriend that is terrible for him is, like, in town, and he doesn't know. Like, I need to tell him. Like, what a dilemma. Don't envy Adama. It's
especially hard because you've seen, like, it's not like Colonel Tigh is all better and fixed and cured or whatever. Like, you've seen the journey that he's been on. And it's been hard for him to even get to this point. Like, this fall off the wagon is hard to watch for that reason and so many others.
We get another little interlude with Hilo and Boomer struggling in the sewers. Hilo's really starting to fall apart and notices that Boomer is not. And he's like, what's going on there? Why are you so not tired?
My God, are you Jason Boomer? You can just fucking fuck in a sewer?
You can fuck someone with a rolled up magazine?
I can fuck for 3 hours straight without getting winded.
She goes up a ladder and takes a look out a manhole cover like a total TMNT.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, you're making me look bad.
The streets are still swarming with toasters, and they're running like helicopters around. There's searchlights.
Yeah, let me see those helicopters.
I know, they didn't show them.
Yeah, just the spotlights.
And the sounds.
Uh-huh. Do you think the Cylons kept a bunch of the tech that was still on Caprica, like the helicopters, for example? Seems like it.
Yeah, I mean, like they're already manufactured. Why not use them?
Yeah. So after taking a look around, topside isn't the place to be, and so they continue through those sewers, and it's Boomer, doing her best coaching.
Yeah.
To keep Hilo going.
I'm not gonna die here. Let's go.
Speaking of continuing through sewers, Baltar finds the Tighs kind of in media public fuck.
See, that's just mean. Ben, why would you say that?
What?
You compared them to sewers? Sewer people?
Yeah, I don't like them. 6 is kind of like game recognized game with Ellen Tigh.
I really like this flourish visually here. This is one of the moments I really appreciated, was that, like, Gaius Baltar's in profile, and you see 6's face kind of appear also in profile and then go back behind his face. That was neat. That's a version of this appearance that we haven't seen before.
After Baltar leaves, Ellen and Tigh have like a bit of a confrontation here, and she claims that when she was convalescing on this other ship, Adama was coming and seeing her, and like she would pretend she was asleep, and Adama would like touch her body unconsensually on the other ship, and Tigh is like, fuck that, don't believe it for a second.
Ellen, I'm not falling for this.
That's not a thing he would do, that's a thing you would lie about.
This is clearly something that's happened many times before. She's making shit up to get him angry or jealous or whatever, and this is out of a pretty awful playbook.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild that Colonel Tigh is the sane one of the two, Yeah. Because he's barely holding it together himself.
So, like, everybody that was at the dinner plus Dr. Baltar kind of, like, have this hijinks-filled confrontation in the lab at this point where, like, the cat comes out of the bag about the president suspecting Adama of maybe being a Cylon, and Ellen Tigh hears the whole thing about Adama trying to, like, keep her away from Tigh because he is so, like, suspicious of her as a person and, like, the bad influence she is on him and how, like, critical he is to the safety of the human race at this point.
And the president wanting to cover up and not disclose how instrumental she was in the reshuffling of all of the tests being done to the blood. And Ben, the music of this scene just does too much work. Like, I think absent any music, this scene might be plausible,
Yeah.
But like it's so slapsticky and unusually so in a way that I don't feel like any other scene has ever been on this show.
It's the one comedy moment I can think of on Battlestar, and it's like a little too sweaty about it, you know? It kind of ruins the comedy because it like that music makes it feel like they are desperate for you to read it as the comedy they want you to read it as.
I wanted her close to me.
I told you. I told you he wanted me.
Oh, lovely. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, I didn't like this choice. I would rather have no music at all than this music and expect a viewer to kind of bring their own sense of comedy to what's happening.
Yeah.
It's a little too much frosting.
Yeah. So despite the fact that Tigh is shithouse drunk, he and everyone else are going to go to the CIC because that raider that was acting all weird seems to be under control now, and he orders the launch of alert fighters, and Starbuck is there, and she's like, this has all been a ruse, like this thing has been testing us, we haven't been getting data off it, it's been getting data off us. Tension really goes through the roof, and it doesn't look like Hot Dog is going to be able to save the day by killing this Cylon raider.
I remember the Audrey 2 having cannons.
It does have cannons, yeah, but this fighter is like headed right for the room with all of the horny 27-somethings.
In a way that's too close for guns, even.
Yeah.
Like it's inside that perimeter.
Yeah. A Viper takes it out. There's an attaboy in it for Colonel Tigh, who like scrambled those fighters. Like Adama and Tigh go off into the hallway to have a one-on-one, and it sort of looks like it's about to be Adama ripping Tigh a new asshole, and it's much more of a slap on the back and a, hey man, I just am worried about you and I respect you a ton, and I don't want you to fall into the thing you always fall into when you're around Ellen.
Well, I think this is two people who have known each other for a very long time. I think if they knew each other less, you could see Adama really come at him pretty hard for how fucked up he's been acting.
Yeah.
And how perilous that puts everyone in the fleet,
yep.
You know, as a result. But he knows, as the soft touch, yet again, he can't treat Tigh that way. He's got to give him the props for the decision he made, even though he came to that decision in kind of a drunken, unusual way. Like there's a redemption for him here, but it kind of serves as a, like, I think Tigh knows how lucky they got and how unintentional the save was in this moment, right?
Yeah. Oh, all those horny people could have died.
He does, in his way, have a professional angle to this. He's like, you know, the guy without the cup was a better hang and a better friend and a better XO. And there's very clearly no orders given here, and there's no promises made for Tigh's part. And I thought that was such an interesting way to end this scene. It was a conversation without a direction at the end.
Yeah. And we cut over to some Cylons without a direction as well, because Doral and Six over on Caprica are talking about how they can't figure out where Hilo and Boomer went. Very frustrating for them.
They are frustrated by being unable to find them, but also in a little bit of conflict about what's it like to have feelings like that?
Yeah.
Like, wow, we kind of told Boomer she should do what she could to get those feelings out of Hilo. But, wow, what a surprise. She has feelings herself. And when the number 6 version kind of looks away, like she can't even make eye contact with Doral, it's clear that like she's having feelings in the moment that Doral is incapable of.
Yeah.
Doral is still like laboratory scientist Doral, like very detached emotionally from this. And the 6 version is almost seeming like she's having a hard time holding it together.
It really is.
How much did you want to bet that Ellen Tigh was or wasn't a Cylon? Were you, up until this moment where we get the test results back, what'd you think was going to happen?
I mean, I didn't think that she was going to be a Cylon, but I like that it's left ambiguous. And yet, there's this little celebration, and then we cut to like the fucking music where Six is talking to Baltar inside his head, and we learned that all Cylon tests are fake, and he's just faking the results.
This is terrible.
I guess after what happened with Boomer.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate that as like a plot result for this thing that we've been following for 9 episodes now.
Yeah.
So what, like, Baltar just gets a get out of jail free card every time. Like, and it doesn't make sense that there's nobody that would like know whether or not like, it has to be independently verifiable that the Cylon detector works.
In a way, it makes his task even worse too, and more boring. Like, wouldn't you have some sort of curiosity at all? If you were made to serve your time in a lab where you're running all these tests, wouldn't you at least want to know, for your own sake, how many human-looking Cylons there were on the ship?
It felt like a writing cop-out. Like, I know it's harder to make this show if they have a Cylon detector, because, like, you can't use that as one of the ways that you build up the tension and suspicion and paranoia. But, like, I think that if you're going to go ahead and make that even a possibility and spend a whole bunch of episodes talking about the process of developing it and the will they, won't they of developing it, to develop it and then have it be like, it doesn't actually matter whether it was developed or not, because he's the only person that knows how it works, and he's just not going to say what the results are for real.
Yeah.
Just felt like a cop-out.
Didn't feel great. But what'd you think of the episode as a whole, Ben?
So say we all. So say we all.
An uneven episode. There's a lot I like in it. I thought that the character of Ellen Tigh was really well written and really, like, compellingly destructive. Like, that, like, oh, it's just a little bit of innocent flirting where she, like, is specifically flirting with people because she knows it kind of drives him crazy and will crank him up.
I was terrified by her.
Yeah.
Like, in a show made of robot people who could tear you limb from limb, she's maybe the scariest character. It's because I feel like we know her.
Yeah.
Like, we've known people like her.
She's a total man-eater, and I thought she was well-performed and well-written.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, the stuff with Baltar, like, it really bothers me that they just kind of, like, waved that away as a thing, and I think that it's kind of a plot hole, and that's unfortunate. How about you?
Yeah, I think in order to like this show and to stick with it, you really need to see the entertainment value of Baltar without reaching the point where you're over Baltar'd. You know, like, you can reach a saturation point where you're like, where it sounds like you're getting close to, where it's like, this fucking guy. I get that. I think this was not my favorite episode in this first season, and I think, God, it's weird to say, but that one musical choice in the climax of the episode, I thought was so significant to me.
Yeah.
That it kind of spoiled the broth for the rest of it. A lot of interesting things happened in this episode, but that moment really hurt it.
Yeah.
So, you know me, Ben, I'm hoping for a serious, hard sci-fi episode for episode 10 that gets us back on track. And I think that's what we're going to get. I hope so anyway.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it. But first, let's talk about our Priority 1 inbox. Want to head over there with me, Adam?
Oh, yeah. It's heading straight for our lounge area.
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
Ben, we've got a Priority 1 message here from Darmok, a.k.a. Javier, and it is to Adam, Ben and Adam. Their message goes like this. You were always going on about your superior marketing skills vis-a-vis Big Rod. Please make your drops available to the public. I would pay real scarves to work out to the Roe drop, the O'Brien drop, the Chris Brenner drop, the Kim drop, and keep them coming. Now play that weird drop with the typewriter where someone says stop. Javier, you know that's my favorite drop.
Well, how do you expect me to type?
Not with your fingers.
With my nose?
Would have definite advantages.
Look, it's typing everything I'm saying.
Not with your fingers.
My nose!
They'll destroy you.
Do you see that? With my nose?
There it sits.
Stop it!
Everything you have done,
Stop.
with your fingers.
Stop.
With your fingers.
Stop.
How do you expect me to type with my nose?
Stop.
Stop it!
Stop.
Stop it!
Stop.
Stop it! Oh, my nose!
Stop it.
You thought you could handle it, so handle
Oh, my nose! That does it, I quit!
I don't know if many people share Javier's feeling about, well, I mean, primarily working out to our drops.
Yeah. I don't think we can sell them.
I don't think so either. Yeah. I mean, it seems like they are kind of available. Like, you can record the show and splice it out, and there it is. Like, you've got it. No one's stopping anyone from doing that.
I bet the Discord has done that with a lot of them. Because, like...
I bet so, too. They're very resourceful.
Yeah. Join the drunkshimoda.com Discord, Javier. I bet they can hook you up.
I bet the Discord could put out a fucking CD of them if they wanted to, with album art and everything.
They probably already have, and we're just not aware of it.
Yeah.
Adam, this priority one message is from someone polite enough to pay to be a pedant. And it's to you. It goes like this. I dreamt a guy ate a bug. Then the guy ate a tire. And the guy ate a wrench. I feared he'd never stop, but he turned to leave. As he opened the gate, a thought occurred. I wonder if that's a gate a man could eat. As he ate the gate, a beaver bit. He ran through the gate away from it. I awoke. There's no guy ate there's only gate Rant over. I love you.
This person can eat shit. I love you too.
Do we pronounce it like the character on the smash hit FX series Dave? Gata?
I think as episodes have gone on, we have settled into correct pronunciations for just so many character names on BSG.
And some uncorrect but beloved for their uncorrectness character names.
Yeah, and I think there was some squishiness to their pronunciation from the time of the miniseries movie to the series itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not wrong in that. We're just going with what we got when we have it. So, yeah.
And also, like, when you're watching the show, you might hear it, but then when you're reading it off of a computer screen and you're seeing how it's spelled, you might make a different assumption about how it's pronounced. And human memory, not perfect.
Hey, you don't have me coming to your workplace and slapping the pronunciation out of your mouth, do you?
Slapping the log of pronunciation shit out of your mouth.
I really appreciate the support for the show, though. You can go to MaximumFun.org/Jumbotron, and you can tell us whatever you want. And we're going to take it however we do. Your support goes a long way in our ability to purchase pronunciation guides.
Yeah. Tell you what about Gata. Bought another vowel.
Indeed.
Hey, Adam.
What's that, Ben?
Did you discover yourself an Edward Larkin?
Edward Larkin! Gaius Baltar until it's not. I think this one's an easy one.
Yeah.
For me, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you get caught masturbating, I suspect that Edward Larkin, the chances of him getting caught, if he wasn't caught, that we know of, were there. Kind of a work alone guy, kind of not great around people.
Yeah. People have seen my office and our web videos and stuff. The door to my office is like right behind me when I'm sitting at my desk working, and I was writing something for our newsletter.
Is that a euphemism?
And I was just like sitting in here quietly typing, and my parents are down, and like my wife has never like come into the office unannounced.
Yeah, she knows better.
But like I just realized at a certain point that my mom was standing right behind me. And I was like, what if I had been I could have been doing anything in here.
Don't love that, Ben. Don't love that for you at all.
Yeah. I had to have a little moment where I was like, I record in that room. if you want my attention while I'm out there, I'm going to need to get it in the form of like a text message or something.
You need one of those on the air signs that you could put outside your door.
I've been thinking about that.
And then it's always lit, no matter what.
I'm sure that there's a technically minded FOD out there. A dream item of mine is an on-air sign that somehow knows when I hit the record button on Audition on my computer. Yeah. So I don't ever have to think about it. It just goes on automatically.
There's some if this, then that kind of program.
Yeah. Like right in, like slide into the DMs on one of our social accounts if you think that that's technically feasible. I'd be very curious about that. And I have a Raspberry Pi that I could like set up probably if that's how you need to do something like that. I don't know how to use a Raspberry Pi, but I have one.
Jeez, it's a good thing you weren't Googling Raspberry Pis when your mom walked in.
Yeah, it's a good thing I wasn't balls deep in a Raspberry Pi when my mom walked in.
Did you already say what your Edward Larkin was?
Oh, no, I think I'm going to give it to Ellen Tigh. I don't think I need to justify that choice.
How could I not select her as mine? I mean, I don't know. We'll give her another episode to see.
Okay. Sounds like she's going to be a going concern. Well, let's talk about the next episode. It's season 1, episode 10 of Battlestar Galactica, The Hand of God. As its fuel supply dwindles, the fleet must seek out a new supply of Thylium or are at risk of becoming sitting ducks to any Cylon attack. A recon patrol finds an asteroid full of the fuel, but there's a catch. The Cylons have found it first and established a heavily guarded refining plant. Wow.
I think this show does a great job with bases, so I'm excited to see what a refining plant looks like.
Cool.
That's going to look neat.
Let's take a look at it. Next week here on Hot Cylon Summer, we just got one last segment on the episode, don't we?
Sure do, Ben. It's the reading of a warning bois. That is the chance to experience what FODs are telling strangers about what our shows might be like. And those are useful for getting the word out, growing our audience, and keeping folks away who just wouldn't be on our level.
Indeed.
Prepare a buoy and launch it when ready.
Warning buoys.
An emergency buoy. A warning buoy.
Ben, I got something here, Priority 1 related. FOD Chuck slid into our DMs to say, hey, I just wanted to get a message of thanks to Ben and Adam for doing such a fantastic read on my P1. They seem genuinely interested and enthusiastic as they riffed, in their own words, beyond my copy, and I'm already seeing a Greatest Gen bump to my Greatest Art page.
Wow, that's awesome.
Another satisfied customer.
Hell yeah.
And thanks to Chuck.
Well, if you'd like to hear some of your words coming out of our mouths, we'd sure appreciate a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you review podcasts. Or just recommend the show on social media somewhere. And if we can find it, it might end up on the show someday.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for us.
Yeah. Let's leave this episode in Wynde's capable hands.
Wynde's job in production for us, the refinery of what gets done around here at Uxbridge Shimoda.
Heavily fortified. Take it away, Wynde.
Greatest Trek is an Uxbridge Shimoda podcast on the Maximum Fun Network. It's hosted by Ben Harrison and Adam Pranica, and it's produced and edited by Wynde Priddy. Next week on Hot Cylon Summer, it's Season 1, Episode 10, The Hand of God. Special thank you to all of the Max Fun members who support on a monthly basis. There are new bonus episodes being released every single month, and when you become a member, you'll get instant access to the entire back catalog as well. You can set up your membership at MaximumFun.org/join, and we really appreciate it. You can also support for free by subscribing to the Greatest Trek YouTube channel or by leaving a 5-star rating and review on your podcatcher, or just by telling someone you know about us. Thank you to Nick Ditmore, who created the show art, and thanks to Adam Ragusia, who composed the theme music. Thank you to Bill Tilley and Rob Adler for running the @GreatestTrek social media pages that you can find and follow wherever you hang out online. And be sure to use the hashtag GreatestTrek when you post about the show. You can also sign up for the Greatest newsletter at gach.biz/mail. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week on Greatest Trek.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows.
Supported directly by you.